Let's get into this voicemail. By the way, you can always leave me a message at 510-343-3640.
Hey, this is Sergio calling from Los Angeles. I'm actually watching your podcast regarding the breakup of the team, which is really disheartening.
Right.
But my question is, I know that you're talking about Howard Terminal being 5 years away minimum.
Approximately.
And how we're going to have to lose our stars.
Potentially.
Once again, have to lose our stars because there's a rebuilding process, and I get that. But what if the Las Vegas option comes to fruition? I know that this is not something that anyone in Oakland wants to hear, but
correct.
I've committed myself to being an A's fan, no matter where they are.
Okay.
I believe, from what I've seen, that the Las Vegas option would get a stadium built much, much faster than Howard Terminal. Would that mean that we still would lose our stars, or is there a possibility if we go to Vegas that we can open that stadium and team with Chapman and Olsen and Laureano and the rest of our stars in place, or the majority of those same stars in place? That's my question.
All right, Sergio, thanks so much for calling in. You know, I always think it's very cool that you're down in LA, you're here on the YouTube channel, you're leaving messages on my voicemail line, so I greatly appreciate that. And by the way, my facial expressions, I hope you know, I was just having fun with your message and digesting it in real time and kind of letting it play out there. So you bring up so many different points specific to Las Vegas. And that's actually a topic which here on my YouTube channel or on television, other places, I've always kept the discussion about the Oakland A's relocating potentially to Las Vegas. I've kept it pretty clinical, as in I talk about facts and details and interesting information that I'll uncover along the way. But I rarely ever get into this from the personal side and maybe even the opinion side of this. So let me just do some real talk on Las Vegas as it relates to the A's. And hopefully I'll answer all of the different things that you brought up here along the way. Number one, even as a Bay Area guy, a Northern California guy, all I've ever known is the Oakland A's. Even me, I see this process and the search and the research on Las Vegas. I've always seen this as a legitimate option. Major League Baseball is very interested in pursuing this market. And for the Oakland A's, it's geographically close. To your point earlier, it's a market that moves quickly on things. They don't seem to hesitate or sometimes even care, even though there is some regret occasionally with how they spend their money and things they do. But yeah, it's a more, active location in doing projects like this. So I just want to put all that together and say, I've always felt it's a legitimate option. And that's even despite how some people feel in Southern Nevada. Like they're very into it. They think it's real. Then on the other side, they think that, this is not a possibility. This is just something to go along with them trying to really stay in Oakland, but then it is real. Again, I'm just here to say my opinion, my personal opinion is that Las Vegas has always been a legitimate option, as much as my brain can't even wrap itself around that thought. I'm not even kidding. I talk about this, it's coming out of my mouth right now, but I can't visualize what this even looks like. And that brings me to the two kinds of A's fans that are out there. Obviously, you're calling in from Los Angeles, so that's more of the regional fan category. But there's, I think, way more Oakland ties and fans to the A's and their brand and their history and everything that they've been, at the Coliseum for now more than 50 years. And I think it's the Oakland ties and the Oakland fans that can't even conceptualize this, don't even know what they would do if hypothetically the A's were in Las Vegas in the near future. I've thought about this from a sporting perspective. This is not from a life and death perspective. Clearly that supersedes everything else. But from a sporting perspective, there's no bigger trauma than a team relocating, because they're gone. can't get in your car to go necessarily see them anymore. When they change states, change regions, change whatever, and they're not coming back, that's history, that's tradition, that's a lot of sentimental stuff that just goes away instantly. And then it continues on somewhere else. So that, I think, is the perspective Oakland fans have on this. They don't even know what that means yet. They know it's out there, they've heard talk of it, but they don't even know what it means. For you, as a rare, I think, regional fan, the A's are more of a local and regional brand than they are a national brand. Let's face it, some teams in pro sports, they have fans far and wide, and quite honestly, they could play their games or their matches on the moon. And the majority of the fan base is so widespread that it doesn't really matter. But for the Oakland A's, they are such a local and regional brand. Yeah, I mean, it does matter where they play. So I think you are in the minority of A's fans there where you say, we, in the same sentence, you said we, Chapman, Bassett, Olsen, Laureano, and Las Vegas. Not too many A's fans are putting all those same things into one sentence with a straight face. So there is that difference for you. And again, to go back, your perspective on it, and they would be moving closer to you in Southern California if they were in Southern Nevada. But most A's fans, I just don't think they see it that way. They recognize why maybe in Las Vegas there would be less hurdles to clear. But again, this project and this process, I don't want to discount what has been happening in Oakland. Again, I said these were my thoughts. This is my real talk on Las Vegas. All of this kind of goes hand in hand with the other side of it, is that Howard Terminal is making progress. Difficult progress, sometimes not the quickest progress, but important steps are happening in Oakland. And even when there are, short delays and setbacks, I mean, there is still more of a direct focus on this now than ever. And this process in Northern California is still so far way ahead of Las Vegas. But again, I don't want to discount it as an option. Let me close out, because I think your last question and the last part of it was, is the cycle still going to happen? The retool, the rebuild, whatever you want to call it, the tear down. My opinion is yes, because whether it's Oakland or whether it's Las Vegas, you're still several years away from something. I think we know that time is ticking. The clock is counting down on the Coliseum, no matter what. And the A's are trying to position themselves greatly for the mid-20s. And I don't take any enjoyment in saying that some of our favorite faces, and you're right there with me, you named quite a few of them right there, that their time might be shorter than it has been longer, since they all joined the Oakland A's. And that's unfortunate. I feel like the cycle for them, it's been rumored. I don't think I'm telling you any secrets or surprises. It's probably inevitable that whether it's Las Vegas or Oakland, the cycle is inevitable. And again, the Coliseum, transitioning to Howard Terminal, that could take some time. But going from Oakland to Las Vegas, there might be some roadblocks there too that aren't visible now. But once you get deeper into that process, that project, finding a site, I mean, there could be some huge setbacks there as well too. So nobody exactly knows the direct timeline on this, but if you're talking mid-20s for the Oakland A's, you're probably talking about an inevitable cycle happening here sooner than later in 2022.